This podcast episode is a very special one for me today, and I'm happy if you've just landed here on the little planet that I love to share with you as always. I called today's episode Never Say Never, because this title is very closely related to why this podcast episode here is really of such special importance to me. You see, in 4 days it will be exactly 1 year since I started the podcast here. To be more precise, Tanisha's planet will be 1 year old on June 14th. That's not an age, you could say. And yet so much has happened for me infinitely in that time that I want to celebrate this first year. In addition to the podcast portals, I also uploaded the first video on YouTube on this 14th of June for all those who visit the little planet always or also through this platform. That alone had challenged me quite a bit a year ago, because I initially had no idea at all how to convert an audio post into a video and thus upload it to YouTube at all. Quite apart from the fact that I would have sworn shortly before that I would definitely never do all that, in example make a podcast or videos, I had no idea what it all meant for my personal development. Shortly before, I was sure I would never talk online about meditation techniques or even about myself. And I would absolutely never make a video to share on YouTube. And certainly I would never film myself and show it there. Oh, I've always been good at saying I'll never do that. And I do that in particularly with full conviction. Well, and now, what happened to me? I could explain the podcast quite well, since my meditation classes could no longer take place from person to person, and one of my nieces then gave the impetus for it. But the videos, the filming, yes, that really happened to me. I simply cannot express it in another way. One thing led to another. At the very beginning, I was interested in the possibility of making videos, mainly because some meditation techniques are simply better to show than to explain with words. But that alone was not it. As some of you may know, meditation for me is part of my, and so of course your, personal development. Nothing separate from us. And that's what I wanted to name and show on the basis of my person. All of a sudden I wanted to let you participate in so many more things, to share myself with you in a completely new way, and to maybe take you with me from time to time, to inspire you. And so I started filming, which has become a whole new art form for me. Until 4 weeks ago, I shot all my videos with my smartphone. But then I had the opportunity to get my first real camera super cheap. Yes, and now everything is starting all over again for me with learning. And you know what? When I was offered the camera, I actually said, I don't need it. I can continue to shoot everything with my smartphone. I've never missed having a camera like that. I really had to be persuaded to take it. Honestly. There it was again. This never. Like so many times before in my life. I will never use social media. I will never make videos. What's the point? I will never show myself in a video. Others can do that better. There's no need for me. who has no idea about it. And so on and so forth. This could probably go on for some time. Lastly, recently, there was the sentence, "I will never understand this camera." But then I had to laugh actually already. About myself and about these mechanisms, which became effective there again and again in me, ancient thought patterns. How I, even without noticing it, talked things into place, really completely unnoticed. And then it struck me that I have probably always had this tendency. That this never saying often goes along with a "I don't need that" or a "I can't do that anyway." Yes, what do we need? A camera? And then it clicked for me. This is not about needing and not about being able. Here possibilities arise, and that's enough. You know, I also noticed that this never saying, in all its facets, was sometimes a little ego theater. Yes, sometimes I even felt a little exalted. I will never do this or that. And yes, I've never done a podcast until a year ago. Never made a podcast. Never recorded audio. Never filmed and edited a video. Never shared my favorite recipes with so many people. Never had a really good camera. Yes, and yet in this last year I have done so many things that I have never done before. For example, increased the size of the vegetable garden and started looking into permaculture. And. I'm not sure I can stop again saying never from now on. But anyway, right? As long as I can just keep getting into expression, I'll still be quite mindful in the future. And I'm going to rejoice for now. My podcast platform here has recorded that over 2,000 listeners have already listened to my episodes by now. I think that's fantastic. And I know that my YouTube channel is a very small one, and I started there last June with 36 subscribers. Now it's grown to over 400. I still can't believe that sometimes. And yes, I'm happy. I'm even very happy that more than 400 people have decided to discover the little planet for themselves. That they write me comments now and then or send me mails. Honestly, I would also continue if 40 people had subscribed to the channel. And still, it's just great that so many have already done it. And you know what? With today, my 100th video goes online. That's also pretty overwhelming for me right now. Who would have thought that a year ago? At least not me. I think some, if not many of you know the spiritual teacher Eckhart Tolle. He just comes to my mind, or rather something he often says. But this is not how I imagined my life. Yes, but this is not how I imagined it last year. And how good that I didn't imagine anything, right? Who knows if I really would have made 100 videos in a year otherwise. Saying never over and over again in my head was enough. I realize I'm always reliving myself. And I've broken so much new ground and learned so incredibly much in the last year. That feels pretty alive. Yes, never say never. Or else get it right when that phrase comes up. That's enough then. And then, yes, then just keep doing what you were about to do before those 3 words popped up in you. Anyway, I'm going to keep practicing it. And now, to all of you who found your way here, a big fat thank you. And always feel welcome here on the small planet, which can always be your small planet. Maybe already. See you soon.